Your warehouse processes are broken. We're going to go through 4 steps on how to fix those. One of the biggest things that warehouses are facing is everyone does something a little bit different. It's human nature at the end of the day. And if you don't have the right SOPs and the right documentation of how you actually do certain tasks, everyone's going to tweak it to their own way. Things like unloading a truck, and that can be so much different from person to person. You can have people that are unloading it and putting it right on the docks and then taking it away, or unloading it and driving it right back to the place where it's supposed to go. Those little things aren't much when you're walking past and you're looking at it, but over time they grow and grow and grow, and it's really costing your facility exponential time that shouldn't have to be there. With these 4 things that we're going to go through today, once you implement them, you're going to realize how much of a time suck they're actually causing you before and how much time you're saving in the future. Step 1 is auditing your process. But the big question is, where do you start? You're looking at small improvements, and it's really hard to just walk through your facility and be like, yeah, we're going to fix this and we're going to fix that, because it's so small you might not even realize it. So if I'm in that scenario, when I'm walking through, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in on one spot of my warehouse. That could be right at the dock doors. It could be putting the loads away, QC, whatever that is, and really spend some time in there and watch what's happening. You can't just be in there for 5 or 10 minutes. That's not going to give you a good picture. It might, and if that is the case, it's a big problem and need to be fixed yesterday. But instead, you're going to need to spend a little bit of time and just watch how they go through the current process. See what's happening from that side, what's working, what's kind of like they're spending too much time on, or that they're dragging their heels a little bit. So a thing might be QCing loads as they're going out or coming in. Spending that time watching, are they getting off forklift? Do they have to do a circle check? Are they looking at pallets? And how is that all lined up for them to actually go through it and make it easier on them? What the big thing you're looking for is, how do I make their lives a little bit easier? And that should be what you should be thinking of when you're walking through those audits. It's not about how do I save time, but how do I make that person's life a little bit easier? When you do this audit or walk through, what you're going to realize are, the little improvements that need to happen and how to make those people's lives a little bit easier. But also you're going to look at the bigger picture of what needs to be changed and how to improve your facility as a whole, just from a small little audit at the end of the day. So going back to step 1, when you're doing this, is only pick a few things at the beginning to start working on. Don't pick 40 or 50 things of all these different types of stuff we're going to improve on. Instead, focus in on one spot, one area, and how we're going to improve that. If you start putting that all on the team, it's going to fall apart, and the people that you're trying to hold accountable, it's going to be really, really hard for them to keep everything organized. Instead, once you get those few couple of wins, you've got the new procedures going on, then start bringing on other problems that you've seen and start stacking on top of that. And the next thing you know, in 6 months, you've improved your operation so much and it's changed from what it was 6 months before, and no one's going to notice. And that's the greatest thing. Everything is going to be easier. Team isn't going to even notice that there was these big changes coming, and everyone's in a lot better of a mood at the end of the day. Step 2 is build a process for the people that are actually doing it. So currently at your facility, there is no question you already have procedures that teams are supposed to be following as they're working in the facility. The thing is it really working for that team? So in step 1, we're looking at auditing what was working, what wasn't working, those small tweaks. Now with step 2, we need to build this procedure and work on this procedure a little bit more. One of the biggest things that I've seen in the past is egos. We all got them, and especially we all have our opinion of how to make this facility work way faster and way better. However, that's not always the best thing for the team. And this could be even just at team level, at the personal level, and as the facility as a whole. You have to look at that and really come up with the operation that works for the team. And that might, have to put your feelings aside of what you think actually would work better. It might not be feasible with what you have currently on the floor of what's going on. So it's not just about the team, but it's also about the material. It's about the layout. You have to look at all the variables that come in for your operations and that procedure as a whole. So watching what they're doing, how it's interacting with everything that's on the floor, and implementing those new procedures is going to be the thing that's going to help you the most. One of the easiest wins is ask the team what's slowing them down. They're going to have a lot of ideas and a lot of things that they're going to say that's bugging them throughout the day. Now come up with maybe a solution that might work in the scenario and then go and implement that. A short test, a day, a shift, a week, whatever that looks like at your facility, and see how that's working. Is it actually improving the operations? And if it's not, take a step back, reevaluate, and look at what can we do a little bit differently that maybe I wouldn't think of out of the box. It might be a small little tweak you would think is a little bit slower, but overall it helps the team so much. Those are the things that you're looking for and continuing to improve on at the end of the day. Step 3 is create a feedback loop. When you start talking to your team and you're looking at how we improve your facility or operations, they're going to have a lot of ideas. They're going to get excited because they see and are being heard of things that we can improve as a whole and make their day-to-day better. The worst thing you can do is not do anything afterwards. Everyone gets excited. We have all these great ideas. We're going to really improve on this side of the facility. And then nothing happens. And that's actually even worse than even having the meeting or having all those conversations, because now you got your team's hopes up and nothing's being implemented. Make sure that you don't do that to the team, because that's just going to hurt your team in the long run. The second part is you have all these great ideas, you implement them, you've put together procedures, and the team is actually doing this. What you can't do is you can't be there watching it 24/7. So you really need someone in there to own this. If we don't have someone owning that, it always falls apart. There's no question, because no one has responsibility. You can't hold anyone accountable. And if that falls on your shoulders, you have way too many things going on and you can't really take control of that. So supervisors, team leads, managers of sorts, whatever that is, put that on their shoulders. Get them excited about this. Get them looking at how they're going to improve the facility and get feedback from them. If you get that buy-in, not only is it going to take, all that pressure off your shoulders, but you're probably going to get a better result because they're there, they're watching, they know what's happening. They see all that stuff day in and day out where you don't get to see that stuff. You can't be there. Step 4 is measure and simplify. So we have the problem. We're implementing solutions. Now we have to see, is this actually working? In the last step, I talked a little bit about having the right people in that spot to make sure that it's implemented, that they're reviewing it, that they're actually involved and have buy-in to what they're actually doing. And by having that, you're going to start getting that feedback. So what you're looking for is having some sort of metrics at any level that you can start comparing. Is this actually working? So you really want to make sure that that's in place before you start implementing all these different changes, because if you cannot measure it and it's just a gut feeling, you're just guessing. It's the exact same thing that was happening before. So making sure that you have all that data, or as much data as possible. I know it's hard for some things, but having as much data as possible to make sure that you can make the right decision. Also with that, the simplifying side of things. By having your team look at things and being able to say, okay, here's what's going on, you can start making these decisions of, okay, here's going to be our new process. And I think this will help us overall by implementing these new procedures. And we can start cutting away the things that aren't needed as much. And by having that procedure and SOP and everything really documented really well, you can start implementing across all the teams. And when you onboard new team members, you have that template to give to them. So making sure you have all of that. And then that person that was writing that test or new procedure, having them still be involved with it. It's not done once you kind of come up with a new procedure. You need to continuously improve that, continuously make changes to help out the team. So what's working today, it's not going to work in a year or 2 years or 6 months even. You got to make sure that that person, you can hold them accountable and responsible for how that area is flowing and how they can improve that. So having them come back to you and saying, hey, you know what, when we implemented this, we saw a 20% increase, but now it's kind of stale, or we kind of bump back down to it's only been a 10% increase. Where can we do this a little bit differently, and keeping them involved in that procedure? Once you get these 4 steps implemented, what you're going to get out of this is you're going to have more time to spend on the important things at your facility. There are things that you really need to put 100% of your focus on, and you're only putting 75% in today. And those are the things that you're going to be able to see and deal with a lot easier. Imagine a world where you're not chasing people down to figure out what happened in that certain scenario. And instead, you get to spend all your time on things that are important and that push the needle forward. It's a lot more possible than you think. And all you have to do is implement these 4 steps, and all those different areas in your facility are going to be humming at a lot nicer of a pace than what they were a day ago. With using software like Datadocs, we can help optimize your flow and your operations as a whole. If you're looking for more ways to optimize your facility, check out our next video.